Good morning, Shrimp Farm. Good morning. It is about 7 o'clock in the morning here in Norway. I've just gotten up to come down and make sure that my shrimp room's okay because it's very, very cold outside. Let me get a little drink of coffee. And yeah, it's very cold outside, and I thought I'd come down here and just make sure that my shrimp room is okay because it is minus 29 degrees Celsius outside. So I came down here just to make sure the shrimp room is warm enough, and it was just barely on my little temperature gauge here. It was 18 degrees Celsius, so I've put a heater in here and I've switched up my underfloor heating up one notch. Yeah, it is very cold here. It's minus 29 degrees Celsius outside. You can see the ice is becoming thick on the inside of the glass here. Right, so I think I'm going to do something for this. I might not actually do it all this year, but we will get a bigger piece of styrofoam like this and cover the entire thing in the winter and just have them uncovered when it's nice and warm. So anyhow, so today's plan is to check the tanks like you should always do when you come into a shrimp room in the morning. We are also going to be doing our Neocaridina water changes over here. So we're going to prep some water. And yeah, let's start by having a coffee. Oh my God, I need more coffee. We're going to start by going around the tanks, making sure that they're okay, because you should do that every single time you come in the shrimp room. And yeah, basic little bits of maintenance like removing duckweed and pushing it out the way so you guys can actually see what's in the tanks. Right, so let's start by grabbing our cup of coffee as we walk around. You guys can look at the lovely tanks for a second while I take another big slurp. Oh God. Boy, do I need that this morning. So let's start with this top rack here. This is our ADA V1 that was set up on the 18th of the 12th. So this tank is barely, what is that, 12, about 17 days old, something like that. And yeah, it is looking good. Walls are starting to go green. I'm trying to see if we have copepods, guys. If you remember from my very recent video, we talked about having copepods in the glass, which is a good indicator that you can actually add shrimp to the tank. I can see a lot of little snails and stuff. Do we see? Oh yeah, there's copepods. There is some. There's not millions of them, but there is some. So this is a start. Maybe I'll give this another week. Guys, what I did notice, just because I saw my lactobacillus at the back there, in nearly all of the tanks where we've been dosing our lactobacillus and where we've added our leaves are wasting away down to nothing super fast. The lactobacillus is eating, I think. Look at this, right? So I put leaves in these tanks just like a week ago. It's like a skeleton already, the leaf. So anyhow, back up to this tank. This one will be ready for shrimp probably next week, which is good. It looks good. I'm deciding to go with minimal floating plants, so this is getting a little bit big. I just want one piece in here. The thing I was talking about before, guys, is I want to just remove duckweed as I see it, so this is not built up bad. Anything happening in this tank? Massive buried shrimp over there. Massive buried female there. I noticed that that one over there, the buried female, has actually had her eggs. Had her babies, so in here there's probably baby shrimp this morning. I don't see if I can see anything. Uh-oh. Here we have a dead shrimp. This one looks like it's actually been dead for a little while because it's red. So we must remove this. Remind me, guys, when I'm making this video, that we must remove. When I was in here yesterday, there was actually a couple of buried female shrimp in here. So this was a tank that I set up to see if we could revive it, guys, because this was an ADA tank. You can see here, ADA, but it was so nutrientless. My God, I'm so bad with words. That I added fertilizer pellets. The plants were struggling to grow before. Now the plants are growing nice. You can see the Phocidans is growing nice. We have a little bit of algae in the glass. And I actually managed to get some macro footage of the girls. So I think I put in maybe 5 shrimp in here. And 2 of them at least are buried. So let's go down. Super Crystal Reds. Tank is looking good. Since I put this light on here, guys, this is just your bog standard grow light that you'd get at any hardware store. It's probably like 5,000 Kelvin or something. You can see how green the sides have become. And it's very noticeable that it's just green here, see it, on these panels, but it's not so green at the back. So yeah, having that little bit extra light means we're getting green walls. So I think, yeah, I have a plan. I thought about this the other day. Let me bring you up here so you can see my beautiful face again. I have a little plan, and that is, I have spotlights. I have a lot of spotlights. If I can get you into my beautiful face range here with this light. I have spotlights, right? And guys, I've never liked these lights on the top because the light spill and the way they look. You know how you can see this light spill and it hits you in the face here? I'd never liked that. I think it's because I've had issues with cataracts and stuff before, and it kind of blinds me a little bit when I look at stuff. Well, my plan was to change these tanks up the top, the two of them at least, on the top with just spotlights, your bog standard spotlights. Do I have any here? Just to show you what I mean. Spotlight like this thing. This is the one I actually use for my filming, so you guys can see my face when I'm sitting down making my videos. And here's 20 watts daylight bulb, so I have some of them that I can put along the top here, just into the roof here, maybe on this stud here, have them at an angle facing the tanks. I think that would look nice. So I need about 6, and I think I actually have about 6 already as it is, so that's something I'll probably do in the next video. Right, where were we? Mark. Stop going off on tangents. So this tank here was one of the ones that we were trying to recover. The shrimp are actually looking really nice actually, so you can see what I mean with the lacto. It looks like it's either eating the leaf or it's making the shrimp eat the leaf because they're so vigorous. This tank here also has, this is a normal crystal red shrimp tank. I noticed there's one buried girl there. This girl is buried. I don't think that one is. But yeah, it's one of these tanks, guys, where I always think I can save a tank. No matter how bad it gets, I always think I can save it. Right? So for me, a tank is worth saving. It has to have this one element that is essential. It has to have its pH lowering ability still. If it doesn't have that, you're just wasting your time trying to fight it. So these two tanks both do still have their pH lowering ability. The last time I measured them, they were just hovering above a 6. Right, and I could tell from looking at the glass and stuff in the plants that, again, it was just a nutrient deficiency that was not allowing the tank to thrive. And you'll see what I mean when you look at the glass. Like now you can see here that there's green. This wasn't here when I first moved in. And you can see the sides are becoming greener on here, and there's copepods and little animals and whatever else, and I can see that the tank is looking healthier. But as we were talking about there, guys, with these top lights up here, how I'm going to remove them and replace them with spotlights. These lights I think I'll take down here, and we're actually going to put them on top of this middle rack here, because you probably can see this from the side, that these are all front loaded, and you can see how light it is at the front and not so light in the middle. And you can kind of see there's probably this whole back part here doesn't have an awful lot of algae. So yeah, from our first little tank that we looked at over here, this one, you can see the difference it makes here having more light right above the tank. You see it? So yeah, we're going to try and increase our light. I have seen some other shrimp breeders that have multiple lights and then they have aquarium lights. So for example, they'd have lights up here, a couple of lights up under here, and then they'd have normal aquarium lights, and their tanks are mega green. So yeah, if you want algae growth on your tank, you need a lot of light. It's probably that simple, isn't it? Let's go back to where we were. What were we at? These supercrystals? They're just doing awesomely good. I'm quite proud of how this tank is going, because this was an older tank, and it just goes to show, guys, that put a little bit more light on it and then the tank comes back to life. You see it? Look how many shrimp are in here. It's looking good. This is a Tropica tank here, and this is one that we have our red variations. Remember, guys, when I was doing my little boa crossbreeding project to see if we could make our own boa? Well, I actually got some red young from that as well, right? So they are in here. There's only 3 of them. Right, most of my young from that project were all black and white, and maybe they had a little bit trait of the shadow blue in them, but all these ones in here are red. Right, so what I'm hoping to get from this tank is maybe get some red galaxy from this, because the parentage with these were red German pintos and red black zebra pintos. So hopefully with a little bit of luck we can get some lovely galaxies from these, because I don't think I've had ever red galaxies, and it would be nice to get them. There's only 3. Tanks like this take a little while to take off, but you can see it's nice and green. Let's have a look at the tank next to it. This tank is on the verge of baby boom, I can tell, just by the sheer volume of life that's on the glass. Copepods, snails. You can see with the shrimp as well, that they all look like they're doing healthy and well. There's not been any dead shrimp in here for a while. You can see like the algae build up in the glass, which is a really good sign. Look, like here, you see it. This is what you're looking for in a shrimp tank. This is a newer tank, but you want this. You can see it on this as well. You see it? You want the green walls. So to get the green walls, we talked about this before, you need nutrients and you need light. Right? So if you lack any of them, then you're not going to get algae and your shrimp will struggle. So this is an interesting tank. This is one that I'm going to be changing. I'm just waiting on another tank to become available. And this was a Tropica tank, but this one I set up a long time ago, and I can actually visually look at the sides of the glass and just see that it is lacking something. There is the odd copepods, but there's not loads of them. I can see that the plants are doing okay, but they're not doing fantastically. And yeah, this is a tank that we're going to try and change. And guys, here's the difference here when you look at a tank like this that has a black soil and a light soil. Just look how well or how different the tank looks when you look at stuff. This one looks vibrant and light. You can see the plants clearly, you can see the soil, you can see the shrimp, and then you come to this and it's just black. And it's the same light above it, look. This might have something to do with it here. Tank checks. This is one that we set up a little while ago. This is ADAV1, and it was set up on the 17th of the 12th, 23. It's going through its string algae phase. All the string algae will be eaten as these lovely little snails you can see on the side as they grow. And yeah, I'm too blind to see if there is. Now there is some copepods, so this one's not too bad. You can see the little copepods. It's not too bad. Let's have a look in here. Can we see anything? This is where we put our tester shrimp, remember? I have not checked in here since then. Let's see, where are they? You can't all be hiding, can they? Oh, there they are. You see them under the plants? There's 2 under that one. Is there any under this one? So remember what I said, guys, when we came in the room, that yeah, we've just turned on the light. Yeah, there's this filter over here. We only put 5 shrimp in this tank. Yeah, but this tank is absolutely crawling with life here. Let's go up and have our look at these top tanks. This was one of the ones that we were investigating. Guys, I found these little green things in the glass. I do have them in my other tanks, but these are like some type of little worm, right? So I'm going to show you these little worms in macro mode, because I think they look kind of cool. I don't know if there's some kind of caddis thing, or because I seem to remember something about little bugs like this pulling all the organic matter around themselves to make like a shell, and this looks like what that is, but they're not. They're not caddis, because these look like worms, but there's some kind of little thing. And so our issue that we had with this tank was that the glass was just becoming absolutely covered in that green fluffy algae, remember? So it has been eaten quite a bit by the snails. You see, there's one of the snails. You couldn't actually physically see through this glass very well, but yeah, you can see the other snails there. There's another one there. It's grown quite big, and there's one in the glass that's grown big. So these snails are doing their job. They're munching away at this fuzzy, fluffy algae here, and this will allow our green walls to start to grow as well. What was this date on this? 15th. So this one's been set up for a while. Do we see any copepods looking at the glass? Because that is the sign that we're going to use from now on to decide whether we add shrimp. I don't see any. Guys, I have my reading glasses on as well, so I can actually see the glass. You probably can't see anything, but I don't see any copepods at all, so this has to be left. This tank here was a Help Advanced Plant Soil. It was set up on the 17th of the 12th, 23. And guys, it's quite noticeable the difference, look, in these 2 tanks. This one is just starting to go green, but it's clearly doesn't have the same amount of nutrient value as the ADA Amazonia. As I said, this is Help Advanced Plant Soil. Let's see, do we have copiopods? We do actually, we have one or two. One or two, yeah, I do see copiopods. So it goes to show, right, this top tank I can't see any. And now this one looks closer, like it's nearly ready. And this one has copiopods, but there's not so much green. So I think this is probably a good candidate, this one, guys, for our fertilizer pellets to go into this tank. So what I would do is I'd push one fertilizer pellet in behind this little pot that we have here with the Nuri. Just push it in the pot and push it right into the base. And that will help with our green walls. I'm going to show you something here, guys, to show you that doing what we're doing with these fertilizer pellets. As I said, I use organic ones. I'm going to show you that they actually work by looking at our Opa Uli tank, because it is starting to go green, and we've added some of our fertilizer pellets to it as well. Let's have a little look. Here, yeah, you can see quite clearly that the rocks have gone green, but it's actually quite easier to see from the side, the glass. You see the glass here, it's all green. You can just see here at the back here, I've put in a couple of fertilizer pellets. And these release ammonia, a little bit of ammonia and nitrate. And basically, guys, they're cow poop. You can see here, yeah, you can see how thick the green dust algae is becoming on the glass. This is what we're looking for in this type of tank, because in nature, this is what a tank like this would look like. Yeah, you can see how green these rocks are. You can see the shrimp on the back of the filter, so this is a good sign. Remember we were talking about when we first came in, how Opa Uli are a little bit light sensitive? Well, we just turned on the lights, right, and their eyes are minute. But yeah, these ones are doing great. Let's go over to our tanks over here. So today, guys, these will be the main tanks that we do our water change on. And it just so happens, guys, as well, that the volume of water that I have in here is almost just perfect for us to do an almost 50% water change in these tanks. Right? So that is what we're going to do with these ones. Let's have a little look before we do anything else. This is, oh, look at that little bugger there, little shrimplet. It kind of fired itself away up there when it got us. We must have startled it. You can see all the cherries in the bottom. I'll try and get some macro footage of this. I actually took some footage of this the other day, but I'm trying to practice doing decent sized water changes in my Neo tanks. Look at that as well. There's loads and loads of babies in here. No babies in this one yet, which has been set up for about 2 weeks. I'm just counting the days with this, because we actually put some shrimp in here that were already buried. I was hoping that this would recover a little bit better. We can see, I think it has recovered a little bit, guys, this Java moss, because it was a little bit green. A little bit yellow, my bad. It was a little bit yellow, and that's probably because I had it in a bucket with no light for a few weeks. So we have actually added a fertilizer pellet at the back here as well. Hopefully it will start to take off. I'm looking here just to see if we can see any baby shrimp. Sometimes they can be very hard to see. I don't see any yet. I don't see none. How's this tank doing? Looking okay. It's much, much tighter than it was. These walls are starting to go green in the front. You see them here? So maybe need to be cleaned. I can see the bristlenose pleco at the back. Yeah, I can see the shrimp there and there. Right. So the problem with this tiger tank, that's what this is. This one is that there's only like 4 or 5 shrimp in the tank. So fingers crossed, guys, that there is actually a female amongst them and a male, because I would hate to lose all my tigers, because yeah, this was one that I probably neglected for just too long. This tank here will probably be getting taken down, because yeah, I don't know what it is, guys. I just don't trust this tank. You look at the silicon in job here in the corner. I've had this tank for years, but the silicon on it is really, really sketchy. Like, the only thing that's holding this together is that tiny, tiny bit of silicon there. The jar is full of algae. This one, I think the algae just needs, duckweed just needs pulled to the sides a little bit. Now this tank down here is a problem tank. And the problem is just the sheer volume of plant growth is becoming a real issue, as you can see here. And I can see snails and shrimp and stuff here, but I mean, I make YouTube videos, guys. And this is just, it's just the worst for filming. I mean, you could probably see more of the glare in my hand and stuff than you can actually see of anything in the tank. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but we need to do something. We have a lot of big crayfish and stuff in here, and yeah, you just can't see anything. You can see one of them sitting there, there's another one sitting up there, but it needs some of the plants taken out. I think it needs a light on the top instead of this light underneath here, because this is what all this glare is. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, this tank needs a water change. Guys, you probably remember the last time I showed you this tank was about 2 weeks ago, and I removed all the duckweed. It never ends, does it? Alright, let's go onto our little tank with our... These were our Galaxy Boa attempt. Remember the Galaxy Boa project that I tried to do? And yeah, this was the result. So you can tell that these were Galaxies here. You can tell, but you can also tell that they were the German Pintos. So I'm just waiting now, guys, for babies from these so we can start to expand on our project that we did. And I know for sure that there's at least 2 buried females in here. And it's just a simple case of every day coming in and looking, scanning the ground for baby shrimp. Please make it soon. So there is our little tour for now. Right, let's start doing our water changes. On some of these tanks like this one, I'm just going to simply grab our comb, wherever it is, my hair comb. Here it is here. And I've already washed my hands. Look at these snails in the top of this metal bit here, you see it? I don't know how they get up here. Get off, get into the water. You see, is there any more? There's one more there, you see it? Oh, you can see the water splashing up, hitting this a little bit. It's bizarre, they must climb up that pipe and get onto the top bit. So let's try and push some of this duckweed to the side. And herein lies the problem, guys, with me specifically in my tanks. And that is, I seem to be a duckweed farmer just as much as I am, look how thick it is here, you see it? Just as much as I am a shrimp breeder. So I'm pushing that to the side just now. And we're going to do a water change in this tank here. Guys, I think I want to buy some more bristlenose pleco as well. I want to get some of those. I want to get some of those long fin varieties that you see as well, like the red versions, the gold ones with the longer. I think they call them dragons or something. Because I have a couple of bigger tanks like this, and I would just like to see that variation in them. I think it will look cool. So yes, we'll have to get onto the interwebs and check to see what is around me, if there's anything local that I could drive to or something. I don't fancy getting anything shipped to me at this time of the year, simply because, yeah, as I said, it's minus 29 degrees Celsius outside. Normally I don't buy anything online that is in a liquid or anything like that, like if I was buying bottled bacteria. Not at this time of the year, Mark. And I have probably about another 3 months of this weather, 4 months at least, before it gets up above that freezing point, so I could actually buy stuff online again, like if I wanted to buy shrimp online or anything else, yeah. But hey guys, I'm going to turn off the camera here. We're going to prep our water over there. We're going to start to drain some of these tanks, and yeah, I'm going to have a little slurp of my coffee because I've been talking for like 20 minutes. Right guys, let's get over here and we'll prep our water. Right, so you guys have seen this quite a few times. Some of you have asked me to do a video just on this, which I probably will in the future, but not today. Let's move our cover. And guys, I have a cover over my water barrel just because it helps to stop humidity. And the other reason, right, is up here, look. I have copper pipes up here, and sometimes when I make water outside, when the water comes in fast, my pipes can get very cold, right? So if you have a lot of water flow and the pipes get very cold, what tends to happen is you get a lot of condensation. So with these pipes up here, I can get a lot of condensation on these pipes, and then what tends to happen is there's a lot of drippage. Drippage, yes. Let me just show you if I can actually show you anything, right? So here's a good example here, right? So this is the top of my dehumidifier. And it says 35 degrees, 35% humidity, which is quite low actually. I have it set at 40 normally on here. I don't know if this is going to come out in camera. See the green mark here? This is from water dripping off this copper pipe here and splashing onto the top here. Now normally you would think it's not such a big deal. It's a little bit of water dripping off the pipe. It doesn't matter. But if the water is green, it means there's copper in it. Right? And I have a water vessel here that I make my reverse osmosis water for all my shrimp tanks. And I can't have water dripping from this into here. Right? So I have to have this covered. So what happens is it drips. It's not a lot, guys. It's like maybe 1 or 2 drips, like an hour or something. And because I have this room heated and because there's a humidity control, what tends to happen is it just dries. It just dries into like a green crust eventually. But I thought I'd show you that, right? So if you have copper pipes and you have them anywhere near your aquariums and you have these, if you have condensation from it, like when I fill this up with water, there's a lot of water that has to go through these pipes here. And they become very cold and it condenses and we end up with drippage, as we said, right? So let's get into our water thing. Yeah, you don't want that green water going into your big vat here because it probably would kill your shrimp, I would imagine, or something like that. Let's just get on with our job here. The one-handed man. All right, so as you can see here we have our conductivity meter, and it says 0. Let's put this in. I'm going to show you something. Just going to hold it there for a second because I want to show you this, guys, because it's important. It's something that you should know if you make your own water and if you mix all your water in the same container. And I mean mixing all your salts in the same container and the same container that you collect your reverse osmosis water in. This is what happens. Look. You can see that there it says 19, right? So this is 19 US Siemens, which is around about, I don't know, 9 or 10 TDS, something like that. And what this means, guys, is that when we're making all of our water here, right, I'm not getting all of the water out of it before I make the next one. So this is probably something I'm going to do next, is I'm going to add a drain to this that I can run to our flow drain over here. I've seen them. There's like you get ones that's like a spigot that you can fit garden hose on. So that will probably help me with this. But this is an issue that I maybe not be able to get rid of because what is actually happening here, guys, is when you are doing your water change, you're not getting rid of all the water. And what I noticed the last time I looked in here when it was empty was there was an awful lot of salt crystals still in there that were not dissolved, right? And you can see the amount of movement that I have in here with my water. It's a fair whack. You see it? There's a lot of air, so there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of circulation. You see it? And these salt crystals are just not dissolving. So not all salt crystals dissolve when you're putting different stuff into your tank. So the other solution would be for this is to actually have another container here that I make my mixing salts with. So there'd be another container just for mixing salt with the water, and this one would be kept as an RO, but then I would have 2 in here. So is it such a big problem? No. As long as I know about this, it's not a big issue because all I'm doing here, guys, right, is if, for example, this is going to be our Neocaridina water this time, we're going to add our salts. I will make it and it will be to the number that I'm looking for. Then we add it to the tanks. Right, and then the next time I come along and I want to make my water up for my Caridina shrimp, I do the same thing again. And we just go towards our number and that's it. Right? So the only thing that might be a slight issue here is when I do top-ups, which is, right now it's not very much because we have all our tanks covered, but it might be an issue in the summer. We might have to deal with this, but that, guys, that still for me is at least 5-6 months away, so it gives me time to fix my shrimp room a little bit more than it is. Anyway, Mark, stop blithering. Right, guys, we're going to do Neocaridina water changes today. We're going to change water in all these tanks here. So that's quite a lot. We're going to use actually all this entire barrel of water. It doesn't look like it, but we are going to do that. So what we need here, guys, is for the salts that I have, I just go between this one and the GHKH Plus for shrimp. This is the one that's meant for just normal aquariums, but it is exactly the same. You get exactly the same readings. On the back it tells you exactly the same stuff. So what we need to put in here, guys, is we need to put in roughly 15 scoops. 15 scoops, right? So let's start with the first one. 1, 2, right, and guys, I'll put the rest in and I'll switch the camera back on. So that is all of our minerals in here. What I'll do, guys, is I'll give this a good, 20 minutes, whatever time it takes us to empty these tanks here, and we'll come back and we'll check it, and if it's too high or too low, we'll adjust it. If it's too high, there's not much we can do about it, but the amount that I put in is a little bit less than I need for this amount of water, so we should be good, right? So we'll do that. Let's switch on our pump here. You can hear it come on, let that circulate a little bit. This is what we're going to add our water to the tanks. This is how we're going to do it. Let's get over here, make sure all the lids are off, and we are going to start to actually drain these tanks, right? So guys, I do this manually, and I don't plan to change from doing it manually because I like the slight exercise that I get from doing this, right? So when you're watching me do this in the comment section, please be kind. Just remember, I have an extremely bad back, and the main reason I do this is because my back is so bad, guys. If I didn't do this slight exercise like this, I would be probably even more disabled than I am. Right, so it is what it is. I'm going to get a little tripod here, stick you on that table, and you'll watch me from the back, you weirdos. All right, there, guys. Let's get our buckets and stuff into position. At the most, I'm going to need maybe 3 buckets at a time. So let's get these ready. We have 4 buckets. And yeah, let's get started with this, right? So I just use a simple hose like this. This is probably a little bit short because this is from my old setup. And I siphon into the tanks. So let's see, where will we start? Right, let's start with this one here. Right, and I'm going to give, guys, as near as I can to a 50% water change in most of these tanks. So let's see how we do. And that is how I do it. No spillage. Water goes in. You can see how quick it drains, which is very, very good. And that is probably enough for this tank. And give it a little shake. Like so. Right, I'm going to show you the end here, guys. I made this myself from a power bait container that's used for fishing, and here is the T-strainer. The T-strainer, the diameter on the mesh is 0.5 millimeters, right? So it's half a mil. You don't even get baby shrimp this small. So, but just to be safe, we've shaked it in the tank there. I'm going to shake it in the water, and I'm going to keep my eyes on it, and we'll check this when it comes to disposing of the water. I'll have a look in the water, and that's how you can tell if you're getting baby shrimp or not, right? But if you don't have this, you can get a pair of women's tights. Make sure you give them a boil first, cut off the foot or something, pull it over your pipe like this, and then you can use a cable tie or rubber bands or something, and that's good to go as well. Let's do the next tank. Yeah, I need to actually make this a little bit longer, this pipe, because it's very short. Look how short it is here. I have like no direction control. Yeah, it spills a little bit, so we're going to have to actually change this, I think. It doesn't matter, as I said, guys, if I get a little bit of water on the floor, because this is a tiled floor, but I would rather not spill a lot of water in the first place, because we don't want to make the water go under the tiles, because you might get lifting and stuff. And of course I have underfloor heating, so you really don't want to spill loads of water in the first place. We're going to go down to 50%. This tank is incredibly small, isn't it? So that is that is roughly 12 litres of water, and that is 50% in this tank. So I thought this tank was about 40 litres, and it's not. It's very, very small. It's only 25 or something like that. And let's get our next one. It's going to be this bugger here. So this one will be a little bit more, so we're going to have a second bucket next to us. Oh, like so. And let's get this party on the road. So this is fine if you do this fast enough, guys, and you keep an eye on where you're aiming and all that kind of good stuff, but there's probably easier ways to do this. As I said, I do it because my back is extremely bad, and it gives me a little bit exercise, as in I'm able to lift these buckets and, you know, give myself a little bit of a stretch. Some of you might not know this, but I get really, really bad back pain in the morning, and I actually have to crack my back before I even leave my bed. This tank is quite small as well. So it goes to show, I thought these were 10 gallons, and they're not. They're not quite right. So I'm going to do this quick, like that, change to another bucket, minimal spillage. And we'll drain this water. Looking good. I think we're going to clean the glass on some of these tanks as well. There's our 50%. Alright, so I'm doing this, guys, as well to show you that you can do reasonably big water changes in Neocaridina tanks like this and have bazillions of baby shrimp. And what it basically boils down to is, as long as you prep your water right, as long as you age it, as long as you get your parameters to match to what you want, then you can put the water in the tank. Right? If you have tap water, you must age it and you must dechlorinate it. And I would suggest you probably do slightly smaller water changes, maybe 30% water changes, 25-30% water change or something like that. If you don't know what your water's parameters are and you're just winging it, please buy the necessary kits so you know what to do. But guys, definitely age your water and definitely add your dechlorinator, and then your water changes shouldn't be such a big issue. Unless your water is really, really bad, you should be fine to go. Alright, so let's get rid of this water that is here. And guys, I just put it straight down my drain. I'm going to get these other ones like this. And it's always good practice, guys, to have a floor towel as well, because there's a tiny bit of spillage. Tiny bit of spillage. You know what's interesting, guys, is when I had that big leak in this big Opa-Ula tank here, remember we were stumped to where the water went? Well, some of it actually went in the drawers in this little scarp here. What's this called in English? Drawers. Yeah, I actually said the word. And I know that because the towels that were inside were all soaking wet. And so, yeah, get some floor towels, give them a wee wipe. Good practice. Keep your floor dry. We talked about this a lot on my channel in previous videos that, yeah, if you suffer from athlete's foot, make sure you bloody dry your floor or you're just going to get worse athlete's foot. I've been there in the past and had to use creams and whatever else. God, I talk some pish, don't I? Alright, let's get this bigger tank done here. Let's get you done, big boy. Wherever I put this thing. I think I'm the world's worst for meaning to do stuff and then not doing it, guys. Let me see. I've got one more bucket because we're going to do this row all at the same time. This top tank here needs 3 buckets. And then we're going to do this little one, these little 2 at the same time. Let's get on with this. I'm going to stretch right across, right in your vision. Oh, if I do that fast, you might be able to see. God, this is like bad planning, isn't it? Let me see, can I go this way? I can, that's probably better for you. But I can't look at your beautiful faces, can I? Bad planning. Oh, I kind of missed the bucket completely there. Can you still see me? You can. Alright guys, so you can see the format of my Saturday video. I'm going to try and do minimal editing on this just because these are going to be longer videos. And yeah, my internet is not that great here. We have Starlink, but Sometimes it's only like 10 up. When you're making videos in like 4K or whatever it is, only 10 up is quite slow. So yeah, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to pre-warn you. I'm going to pre-warn you that sometimes when I make videos, people that make videos, they get into the habit of, if they make a mistake, right, what they'll do is this, for example, like if I say the wrong word, like if I said, if I called this a Caridina tank and it wasn't, and it was a Neocaridina, and I realised my mistake, right, what I would do there is, I would just pause, because that shows me where I have to cut. I would pause and then I'd just restart my sentence again. So in today's video, guys, we're going to watch this Caridina shrimp tank, right? So that is wrong. So I would pause and I would say, in today's video, guys, we're going to watch this Neocaridina tank. You get the gist, right? So if you see pauses like this, or if I correct myself, that is what it is from. Does this compute? Does it compute? The water is a wee bit yellow in here, so maybe we're not doing our water changes quite enough. This is us on our second bucket. Third. And we'll give these tanks a little bit of a feed as well, so you guys can see how much I feed them. I typically, guys, will do this on a Saturday because I have more time on a Saturday to do stuff. And it's also a great time to upload a video as well, a Saturday, a longer one, because most people are off. A lot of you guys are off on the weekend and whatever. So let's get this drained and we'll get on to the next tank. Right, so on this one, guys, I'm doing just 3 buckets, which is about 36 litres. Which you'll see, I think this is maybe about a 25% water change, something like that. I don't want to run out of water, that's why I'm being a little bit cautious with the water here. I've only done water changes in this house 2 or 3 times since I've moved here. Since probably November, December, it's just the start of January, so I've only done water changes like maybe 2 or 3 times. And I'm pretty sure that if I get near 30 to 50% in these tanks, it uses all of my water in that barrel. So you see what I mean, guys? I'm going to correct myself here. It uses all the water in my barrel. Right, so let's pull this out. And then we'll get onto these 2 little ones here. Now this is going to be harder for you to see, but I want to make sure I do water changes in all my tanks as well. So if you can see past me, there's not so much water in this tank, so we'll do a 50% water change on this. Yeah, I really need to increase the length of the hose on this. Maybe that's what we'll do in a second. Or after, actually, because the bottom ones will be easier for us to do. And so I need to put my finger over the end. Like this. This traps the siphon, stops the water, but I'm able to lift it like this. Put it into the next tank, and then release the hose, and the siphon will still be there. You see it? Let's do 50% in this little thing. Alright, there we go. I'm just going to rinse this a few times. I want to make sure that there's no shrimp on the end. Right, and then we'll get our water away and we'll do the bottom. Alright, let's get this water away. Oh yeah. You can see what I mean, guys. It gives me that little bit extra size. I do a lot of walking with Lucy, but I need that little physical. I need that little bit of physicality, and doing this is just fine for me. Anyhow, I mean, how boring would it be in a shrimp room if I didn't actually do water changes? How boring would it actually be? Oh, see, like these bending over, you guys with the dirty mind at the back, these bending over movements like this is just perfect for my back to help it snap a little bit. Alright, I'm going to empty these and then we'll get on with the bottom bit. We'll get on with these tanks here. Okay guys, let's do this one first. Wherever's our little hairbrush thing here. Let's move this to this side. Not a shrub. Let's move it to the side and push it to the back. That's what I do with my hair. Oh, this tank is so nice looking, isn't it? Look at all the baby shrimp and fish. Let's get our water in here. And this might be enough just to take out one whole bucket of water in here. Now, guys, I have to tell you this as well, that doing these lower tanks takes quite a bit more time because they're lower, there's less pressure when you do the scything. So what we'll do is I'll probably stop it here and I'll come back when they're empty. I don't want to bore you like just filling these buckets up. I'll come back in a few minutes and then we'll start to fill them up. All right? Oh. Guys, while I remember, let's remove this dead shrimp. Because if I don't do it now, dummy dum-dum here will forget completely. Let's see, right, so there's one ram's horn snail on it. Let's see, separate, it's gone. And this has been a girl. Yeah, she is putrefied. So maybe this was in here yesterday and I didn't see it. It's always a good idea to remove dead shrimp because, yeah, they are ammonia bombs. You know, the other thing we can do while we wait is add a fert pellet to that tank. You know, the one that was struggling? So if you're new at my channel, then I use this type of fertilizer. These ones, the green ones, have copper in them, so they're for plants. This is an organic one. As I said, we're going to put this over here, and we're going to try and shove it in behind this nuri here. Right, so let's go in like this and shove you in the back, because this tank is a little bit nutrient deficient, and this should help it quite a bit. There you go. Right, so next week I'll try and do another video on a Saturday, and you should be able to see the difference. So let's check our water. What is it? Is it good enough? 318 is fine. It's a little bit over my target, so that means the next time we need to add 14. 14 probably wouldn't be enough. 15, maybe 14 and a half scoops of that powder. So it's fine. 318 or 17 or whatever that was, there's like 155 TDS, which is still quite low. So let's grab our pipe here and we're going to actually go and stick this in the tank. Alright, let us pray. Let us pray. Where's my remote? Because I have a remote control for this. So we have it like this. My voice is going. We have it like this. I have a little control valve on here that I adjust when it's in the tank, or if I just don't want it to drip all over the place. Because it's important, guys, that you have this control valve on there, because what tends to happen is, see, when you fill this up, once it gets past your outtake nozzle, if you just switch it off with this, what happens is the siphon reverses. Right, so I noticed this on a video I did before, right? We did this Opiola tank, and once I was finished filling it up, I didn't close the little valve on it, and it started to siphon some of the salt water back out into the container, right? So the next time I made pure RO water, guess what happened? I went to take a reading, and the readings were ridiculously high. It was like 300 TDS or something. I'm like, where did this come from? I haven't added any salt. Well, that is what it's from. So it's important that you get a little control valve on here, or you're going to have to be very, very vigilant when you're putting it in and out your tanks. Right? So let's get this started. Let's get this started, right? So I just have to press this button here. Mine is on remote control. Like this, you can see. And it starts to fill up. Let me take you a wee bit closer so you can see my beautiful work. Now that is a wee bit slow. So down here, as I said, we have our little valve. Let's open it up a little bit. And you'll see what I mean. You see? Like this. And I don't really want it to be much harder than this in a little tank, because I don't want it splashing all over the place. Look at this lovely girl here. Isn't she beautiful? Guys, let me put you back down over here, and we'll have a little seat while these are filling up, because this is one of my favourite parts, watching this stuff fill up. I don't know why, but I just love watching tanks actually fill up completely, and yeah, why not do it together? It gives us a chance to talk as well. And guys, it brings me on to another point. And I don't know if it's just because I wear glasses now or whatever else it is, but as I've gotten older, I seem to not be able to multitask as much. I kid you not. So to give you examples of this, I've been filling up containers over here with water, and just say for example my reverse osmosis hose, the wastewater one, if for some reason it sprung up and it was just pouring all over the floor, I would be standing there, right? I just am oblivious to it. It's right next to me. My feet are getting almost soaked, and I'm like, what's that? And it's a thing where I don't know if it's my vision or what, but once you go into these little spectacles, if you're wearing ones that are meant for reading, for example, your peripheral vision becomes horrifically bad, right? So you just don't notice stuff. So everything in here is in focus, everything out here isn't in focus. So what I've wanted to do, or what I am doing now actually, and you're seeing me do it, is when we do stuff, I'm concentrating on one job at a time. So our job today now is filling this little bugger up here, you see it? Let's fill that up, and we're going to go quite high because there's condensation and evaporation and all that stuff. And normally, guys, as well, I have all my lids on my tanks, but for videos I take them off just because the light goes through the tank a little bit better, right? So what do I do here? You see it's almost full. What do I do here? Do I switch it off with this? This is just a backup safety thing. What I tend to do, guys, is I go over and I switch off my little valve. Here, you see it? This little thing. So it's getting fuller and fuller. It's almost full. Give it a few more seconds, and then I turn this and adjust it for everyone, because then this way it stops the thing we were just talking about with the reverse flow. You don't want reverse flow, right? So you see how this is done now? You see, I leave it to drip. Quite often, if I'm going from like a larger distance from say here down to here, I would use this and put it in like that, and it stops all this dripping and water and stuff, because no matter what you do, you're going to get a little bit of spillage. And I mean, there's water, I don't want to go all over the floor. But if you're just up here like this, and you're going from tank to tank, just lift it up like this, make sure the worst of the dripping is done, and into the new tank, and then you can open your valve. That's an absolutely gorgeous female cherry shrimp there. I wonder if I could just quickly grab my macro camera and show you what I'm talking about, because she is absolutely gorgeous. I picked the best of the best cherry shrimp to go in here. I mean, I'm saying cherry shrimp. They're technically a grade of cherry shrimp, but yeah, let's see if you can see what I see. No, you're going to swim away. You wee bugger. Yeah, this water kind of got to her there. Where's she going to go? She's away at the back. Bugger. So there's that opportunity lost. But it just goes to show you guys, it's never plain sailing in the shrimp room. If I see an opportunity to take some awesome footage like that, I will. She's still there. She's actually swimming around the... Is she going to sit there? She might sit on the base. Yes, she is. She's given us a second chance, guys. This girl is amazing. Look how red she is. You got a brief glimpse of her. I kind of disturbed her. She was up here on the moss, and I gave her a little bit of a disturbance. Anyway, let's get this water a little bit fuller. Like this. And let's wait until this fills up. I think we should feed the shrimp at the same time. Let's see what we're going to feed them with. Pellets. Keep an eye on the tanks, right? So we're going to feed some of our tanks that have fish in them pellets. I've actually already fed these fish yesterday. Probably some of you will be able to see that there's zucchini and the shrimp on them. So if it's just a shrimp tank and there's still food in the tank, I won't add any more food to the tank. But I'm going to add some pellets to the ones that have fish, like this, you see. And tanks where we have small fish, like small bristlenose plecos, I'm just going to add a quarter of a tablet, so it's a tiny little bit like this. Put it in, like this. I'm watching my flow, you see it? This is good to go into the next tank, and it's actually blowing our food all over the place. Right? So it's going to go into our wee tank over here. If it's spilling it too much, and we're going to put our flow on. Now let's get our food in the tanks that we're going to feed. So we did that one, this one. Let's add some into our bristlenose pleco tanks, because yeah, these are a little bit bigger. I mean, the male bristlenose in there's like this. What's that, like 15 centimeters? I think he's fully grown. So We put a few in. My little Endler tub down here, we're going to have a little look at that in a minute as well, because there's fish in it, and I'm going to put some into our bigger crayfish tub down here. Like this, and that is it. None of the other tanks get any food because they're just shrimp tanks. I always try and feed the fish tanks that tiny little bit more because they need it. Let me turn you around a wee bit. Can you even see that tank? You can. Let's get this end one done here. This is what I'm talking about here, guys, is when you lift it up from tank to tank. Lift it up, wait until the water stops, because there is always that little bit of water that wants to come out. And down into a container like this, and then onto your next tank. And then let her fill up. Let her fill up. Let's see, how are we doing for water? Let's go over here and have a little look. So we have to beat that tank before it fills up. Let's see, how are we doing for water? Ah, it's about quarter used already. And we've not even hit the biggest two tanks yet, so it just shows. Let me put you back on here. You wee midgets. Because we must get to this there before it overfills, you see it? This is why I want to do one job in the shrimp room at a time. There's no emptying tanks and filling tanks at the same time or any of that kind of stuff, because yeah, I'll just make mistakes. Let's fill this up just by hand and stand here because it's very small. Very, very small. And let's put you onto our bigger tank here and let this fill up as well. This can go full fart, which is full fart. I say that in my videos. Guys, full fart means full speed in Norway. Full fart. In Norwegian, they have another word called fart dampener, which I think is hilarious because it just reminds me of a damp fart. Let me see, I'm going to turn you around here a little bit because you're kind of off center. There you go. I am a little bit small. Guys, I'm going to quickly plug in my charger here because I noticed the battery is quite low. Yeah, this tank is filling up nicely. Let me take some macro footage as well while we're here for you guys, so you can actually see some of the shrimp in the tanks as we're speaking. Let me see. Let's go there, and you can watch them for a little while we talk and we watch this fill up. Yeah, I need to change something in this bottom tank, which we're going to talk about in a second, and it's basically, guys, my crayfish tank it's one of the tanks that is not neglected, but it's like the one I at least take care of because the tank is just so hard to watch and maintain, right? So that is something I think I'll save for the next video, but we can at least talk about it here, and that is things have to be changed in it. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of footage. Things have to be changed in it because it's just not working. It's just not working. What I'll do in a second, guys, is once this one fills up, we'll go down here, we'll do the Endler tank, and then we'll finish with the crayfish tank, and we'll go into a little bit more detail what my plans are for the tank, because I'm kind of stuck. I know what I want to do, but they're animals, and I don't want to get rid of them. And if I had to do it again, I'm just going to be very honest here, I would not buy crayfish again. It's maybe 3 times I've had them, and they tend to breed like the clappers, and unless you have a lot of tank space to separate the males and whatnot, you get cannibalism. And these things are quite big, guys. They grow quite large. And oh yeah, I think I have some macro footage on here I'll put up on you of one of the beautiful males. The males are gorgeous. The females are they're like a bluish colour, and the males get like red claws, and they are very nice to watch. But as I said, they are very, very territorial. So this tank is not big enough. For the ones I have in here, they're just not big enough. And when you take into consideration when they have babies, they have basically hundreds of babies. You have hundreds of babies being born in the tank. And you can see my problem here, guys, is Australian crayfish, I think they need a bigger pond type environment to do really well where you can watch them. And yeah, that's just not, I don't think it's going to happen here. Not here in a way. I did actually plan to have a little pond in the middle of this room, in this room here, but I like having the table here instead, so I don't plan on moving that. That's this one full. That's this one full. Let me see, let me grab my little jug. Because whenever you go from elevation to something lower, there's quite a high chance that water will come out. You see it? It didn't, but you never know. Right guys, let me move you down here instead of being way up there. Alright guys, let's put the water in. You can see that there's a lot of shrimp here actually on this cucumber. Put this in yesterday. Let's put this on. Get the water going in here a little bit faster because my battery's actually running out on this camera. We've been talking for a little while, so let's get this on full fart, as we said. This tank is doing amazingly nice, isn't it? I think what we might benefit from this, guys, is actually putting a dedicated light above it. Remember the issue I was just talking about there with the crayfish tank, where it's just very hard to see stuff? I think this might be a tank where we might actually benefit from having a light directly above it, so it lights up the tank a bit better than it is. So, I mean, it is a little bit hard to see through the cloudiness of this, but I think that might improve if we put a light over the top. This is lovely, isn't it? It's beautiful, beautiful little tank. Do I wish I made it in glass? Probably, but that wasn't the content of the video at the time that we made this. But it just goes to show sand base, a little bit of wood, some jungle val, big sponge filter in the back. And this tank is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? And it'd probably be even better if it was in glass. So let's fill this right up to the rim here. Got all the shrimp, snail shrimp, endlers. There's actually plecos in here as well, bristlenose plecos, but I've not seen one of them since we moved them in there. But it's not to say it's not in there, but it's just that there's so many plants you can't really see anything. Guys, I'm going to put this to the crayfish tank. Let it drain a little bit. And let's fill that up as well. Now the crayfish tank is just nothing to see, so you can stay there for a minute until we fill this up. We might actually go and check the water because I can hear it's quite low. Let's just move you over here for a second. Or can you see? Yeah, you can see. Let me just turn you a little bit so you can see. You look at my beautiful leg. I'm just going to go over and check the water. See how we're doing. There's a fair amount of water still in there. So yeah, so we could have went with bigger water changes a little bit. We could have. Let me see. Let me dry this stuff here. Dry my hair comb. Let's see. Hey, did we? We did put food in here, didn't we? Or did we? I thought we did. I can't see them though. Can't see the food yet, but you can see all the shrimp on here, and there's loads of little stuff in there. Let's have a little look from the top. I'm going to unplug the battery for a minute because I don't think we're going to last much longer. Isn't that cool looking? Isn't it cool? So here you can see the conundrum I have with my crayfish thing, is that it's just absolutely full of plants. Now the thing with crayfish, guys, you have to remember is if I put any of these crayfish into say a tank like this, up here, what will happen is the crayfish will absolutely munch through all the plants in the tank. That's why there's so many plants in here, because I actually take all the XX plants I have and I place them into my crayfish tank and they munch through it. But then because of this, the tank becomes really, really ugly looking. But at the same time, if I didn't do this, guys, what happens is the crayfish eat each other more. So this is like a natural barrier that protects some of the smaller ones and stuff in here. And yeah, to be honest, let me just put you up here for a second. To be honest, I'm actually a little bit stumped at what to do with this tank. Let me just turn you down a little bit there. I'm actually a little bit stumped at what to actually do with this tank. I'm going to... Guys, let me know in the comment section what you would do. Maybe I should give them away or something like that, because to me right now it's basically a tank that is one tank down in the room. I love seeing them. I love seeing them in there, but there's just nothing to really look at in the tank. It's a waste of a tank, guys. I want to breed like thousands of Neos in there, and I just can't see anything either. So there's the cons: is they eat each other, they produce a lot of waste. This tends to lead to mass plant growth. Right? If I put any of them in any of my other tanks, they will destroy the tank. So, hey guys, just remember this when you get crayfish, that you really should have separate containers and tanks for them as they grow. And maybe that is something we can do, because we do have a little bit of space here. There's an extra, maybe 2 spots here for space. Maybe we can separate the bigger males or something like that. I don't know. This one's almost full already. I can hear, guys, that this is starting to run out of water though. Look at all these beautiful shrimp. Aren't they gorgeous? So guys, let me know how you're getting on this beautiful Saturday morning. I'm going to upload this today. I'm going to do very minimal editing on it, just cut out the bad bits probably. And we'll go from there. Guys, I hope you like my new format as well, where I'm trying to do a video every day. I'm not sure if I'll do one tomorrow. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to answer common questions that I know about in video format, because yeah, that is a good way to make videos. And yeah, we all take it for granted that everybody knows everything about shrimp keeping. Well, there's always new shrimp keepers that don't know everything, so it's always worth making a new video. But let's get this turned off because it's actually full. Like that. Let me give it a little rinse. And what I normally do, guys, is I will go over to my tap over here. Let me get this snail. You're coming with me. I don't want to kill it. I put this into the tap and we wash all that stuff off. Let's do that now. Alright, let's do this now. I'm showing you all the stuff I do in the shrimp room today because yeah, just a lot of people won't know what to do. Let's rinse all that duckweed off. Make sure it's clean before it goes anywhere near a new container. We don't want to cross-contaminate. Let's lift you up here. And the pump is still on, you hear it. Let's switch the pump off. There you go, pump is off. And guys, I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you the actual pump I use, because it's actually visible. You see it? So we have used quite a lot of the water here. Oh. We have used a lot of the water, and this is the pump I use. This is just a basic standard circulation pump, and it doesn't have any grease or oil in the impeller. And it has a auto shut off if it gets too low, but I've disabled it. And the way you disable these guys is, see the cable here? Oh, no, don't you fall. Don't you fall. You see, the way I've done it is I've actually attached the cable to the main power cable, right? So this is always up, so it means that this is always up as well. If you didn't know, right, there's a switch in here that has a ball. You hear it? And so when it's up, like this, in this position, power is on. And when it goes down, you hear it? It switches off, right? And I've just jerry-rigged this attachment onto here. A couple of cable ties. Well, I'm saying a couple, there's like 8. And this is to food grade PVC pipe, right? And it is good for our shrimplets. There's no cross-contamination. And guys, there's probably about 10 centimetres of water or something left in there. Let's put you back in. And I just have it dead centre. You hear the air coming out of it? And I just have the cable over the side like this, you see? And that is how this is done. The other The other thing that I have here is just this little, this is something that you buy for going over the top of a door. I like it here just because I can pick up my loop of hose and just stick it on like this and it gets it off the floor. I think that's quite neat. And I just push it to the side like this, you see it? Alright, Shrimp Farm. We are near the end. This chair is a little bit short on it. Let me grab the other one. This is a stool I use for just doing shrimp bream stuff because it's small. But I have a bigger one here that I normally use for filming. Alright guys, there is our Saturday video for you this weekend. I want to know what you guys are up to. If you've enjoyed today's video, this format isn't for everybody, but some people will watch it all, so that's why I do it. I want to vary my formats in my videos. I've been talking for like an hour or whatever it is. Guys, I want to thank you for watching, and guys, I'll see you in the next one. Happy shrimp keeping.